Hello and welcome to our Cash ISA Q&A. Thank you so much for all the questions you've emailed in. Rose here is going to ask them me. I am assuming, though, that you've read the guide at moneysavingexpert.com/cash ISAs. That's got all the basics and the best buys in. Rose, first question, go for it.
So we're going to start with some big questions, Martin. First of all, the Shackletons want to know, I've already saved this year's maximum amount, but can I still transfer to another provider without putting in extra cash?
Well, the basic answer is yes. You just go to a new provider, you say, I want to do a transfer, and it should transfer the money across from your old ISA for you. What you must never do is withdraw the cash from an old ISA, because that's effectively closing the ISA down. You've lost that tax-free wrapper. You just get the new provider to transfer across, absolutely fine, even if you've already set one up this year.
Janice, Elizabeth, Scott and Simon all want to know, is there a limit to the number of cash ISAs you can have?
People get very confused about this one. The rule is simple. You are allowed to open one new cash ISA with new money per tax year. Simple as that. The reason people get confused is you can have lots of different cash ISAs from past tax years, say 2007-8, 2008-9, all with different providers. You're also allowed to transfer money across to a new provider in the same tax year, as I've just talked about, as opening a new one. So those are the two reasons people get confused, but the basic rule, one new cash ISA with new money per tax year.
William says, both my wife and I have cash ISAs. If one of us passed away, would the other be able to claim their ISA?
Well, you won't be able to claim the ISA, but you could claim the money. That's the most important thing. A cash ISA is a personal allowance, so if you die, you no longer have that allowance. But the money still sits there. It just effectively becomes a savings account. The product is the same, but you charge basic rate tax on the interest, or your estate is charged basic rate tax on the interest in any case. So, yeah, the money would stay there, but not as a tax-free wrapper.
Julie wants to know, should I be putting my money into an ISA, or should I offset it in a mortgage?
OK, really simple rule when it comes to offsets. If your mortgage rate is higher than the top cash ISA rate, you're better off paying off your mortgage. Think of it this way. 5% mortgage, top cash ISA rate 3%. You've got £1,000 paying this off, you're 50 quid a year better off. That's the amount of interest you don't have to pay. You put £1,000 in this one, you're only getting 30 quid in interest. That's why if your mortgage rate is higher than your cash ISA rate, you're best to pay off the mortgage. That's because you've got an offset and you could borrow back. For other people, I'd always have a cash emergency fund before I start paying the mortgage off. Yeah.
Right, now we're going to move on to some quick fire questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Is it possible to set up an ISA and use it to get a monthly income?
It is possible to do that, yes. It just depends on the ISA provider. You just have to look for one that offers that service.
What happens to your ISA allowance if you move abroad?
The ISA allowance stays, but you're not allowed to add to it. I'm assuming you're resident abroad. Then once you come back living in the UK again, you can start opening new cash ISAs again. Basically, it just freezes. You still get the interest, but you can't put any more money in.
Do I have to save for a full year to get the interest?
No. While the interest is only allocated on a monthly or yearly basis on your statement, you're accruing it all the time. So if you were to close a cash ISA down, they would give you all the interest earned up to that point, generally.
Can you have more than one cash ISA in a family?
Family is completely irrelevant. It's an individual allocation. Every over 16-year-old can open a cash ISA, so it doesn't matter if it's you and your partner and your kids. If you're all over 16, you get one each. Family, irrelevant.
I have several ISAs with different banks. Can I transfer them into one ISA?
Yeah, and it's often a good idea because old ISAs tend to pay pitiful rates, whereas people trying to get your new business pay better rates. So if you were to consolidate all the old ones into a new one that pays more by transferring them all across in one go, you'd tend to earn more and it's easier to manage at the same time.
Does transferring or opening new cash ISAs affect your credit rating?
No, it's nothing to do with credit whatsoever. Saving of any variety doesn't affect your credit rating.
Do I have to wait until the new tax year to change providers?
No, you can transfer a cash ISA at any time. When it comes to transfers, the tax year is irrelevant. That's only for new money going in ISAs.
If you get a new ISA, what happens to the old one?
It simply sits there. It's tax-free year after year. The new ISA is for this year. The old ISAs, you can build them up, get lots of different ones from past years, and it stays tax-free year after year. If the rate's poor, transfer it.
Can I transfer my ISA within the same bank to get its better rate?
There's no ISA rule against transferring within the same bank. However, the bank itself might say this is only a new customer-only deal, so you can't transfer. But there's nothing in the ISA rules themselves to stop you doing that.
Can I pay into my ISA regularly by direct debit?
Yes.
Is it possible to open a joint ISA?
No.
My son will be 16 soon and his child savings account will close. Can teens open ISAs?
Yeah, every UK resident adult aged over 16 gets the tax-free ISA allowance.
Why don't ISA statements just tell you the interest rate you're getting?
It's very simple, because banks want to keep us in the dark about how much we're earning, especially when it's a very low rate of interest. Because if we knew, we would ditch them and go somewhere else and take our business away. They shouldn't be allowed to do it. It's something I've campaigned on to stop them doing it. They are allowed to do it, so you have to make sure you check the rate yourself. Which is why one real important tip on this, when you set up an ISA, often it will have an issue name, issue 2, issue 3, as well as the name of the account. Make sure you note that down, because when you have to look up its rate, it'll be hidden somewhere on the website or in documents. You'll have to know the exact issue number to know what you're being paid. If it's poor, ditch and transfer to a new, better provider.
My mother-in-law thinks she can transfer a cash ISA from her name to her son's name. We don't think so. Who's right?
You're right, your mother-in-law's wrong, although I'm sure she's a lovely woman. Look, the point on this is you can only transfer, it's a personal allowance, so you can't give it to anybody else. What she could do is take the money out of her cash ISA, but then it would no longer be tax-free, give it to her son, and he uses his New Year cash ISA allowance to set one up. But no, you can't transfer from individual to individual. It's a personal allowance in general.
If I want to open a new ISA that doesn't accept transfers, can't I just take the money from my old ISA and put it into the new ISA myself?
A bit like the last point, yes, you could do that, but you'd be losing the cash ISA wrapper that it's in. Let's say you set that up in 2007, that was that year's cash ISA, and once you take the money out, you can't put it back in an old cash ISA, you'd have to use this year's cash ISA to do it. So if you've got savings that are over the ISA allocation limit, it would be a mistake to do that, because it would no longer be in the tax-free wrapper.
I think that's all we've got time for the moment.
Fantastic. Thank you very much to Rose. Thanks to everybody who sent in the questions. I hope you enjoyed that. Do let us know what you think of this little video. Thank you.